This podcast contains subject matter that may be disturbing to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Four imprints, one.
It's time to open the door in your mind. Sit back and listen to true horror. But be careful what you allow in. Because it's time to go through the fog. This week's story is How to Scare Dad. Posted by user ChiTown12076 to r/scary stories. My father is the scariest man I've ever known. And when armed with a bottle of beer, he reaches nightmare levels. Just the crack of his belt or rise in his voice was enough to make me shake like a leaf. One night, while struggling to get comfortable in bed from bruises and sounds of my mom's crying, I hatched an ingenious idea to stop the pain and suffering. Scare Dad. Clearly, he just didn't know how his actions made us feel, but if I scared him like he scared us, maybe he'd change his ways. I tried anything I could think of to produce some fright and scare Dad straight. I would hide and jump out at him, but he didn't even flinch. I placed a snake toy in the toilet, but that only resulted in a beating for me. Finally, I thought about destroying his alcohol. I know that people become scared when they lose something they love, so one by one I poured Dad's bottles down the drain and eagerly awaited his reaction. I knew this would be it. This would be the thing to scare him. That night, I remember my father discovering the empty bottles and becoming angrier than I've ever seen him. I remember him wrecking the house. I remember him storming into my room. I remember his hands around my neck. And I remember seeing black. Luckily, my planning and hard work paid off that night, though. Today, my father lives in a constant state of fear. I'm always watching him, how timid and nervous he is at all times. Whenever I pay him a visit, his complexion turns pasty white. His body shivers like I used to, and he breaks into a cold sweat. I scared my father so good. You'd think he saw a ghost. Through the Fog was recorded by Haptic. Edited by Brad LeBaron, Haptic, and Kevyn Kerrivan. And produced by Flyover State Park. All stories are recorded either with the author's permission or with a Creative Commons share-alike license. If you like what we're doing, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find links to Haptic and Flyover at State Park's link trees down in the show notes. There you can find links to our podcast on other platforms, as well as Twitter and other social media and YouTube links. Redistribution or sale of this podcast is strictly prohibited without the express written consent of both Haptic and the story authors. Thank
you. This is Flyover State Park. You are clear to land.